Hi, I'm Anna Denton-Jones of Refreshing Law Limited, and in today's session I'm going to be answering one of those questions that is probably the most common question that I'm asked about settlement agreements and how much money should be in them, the sort of $1 million question. If I was going to draw an average across all the different agreements that I see in all different sectors across the country, I'd probably say around about the 6-month mark, so 6 months salary equivalent. That probably went up a bit during COVID when everyone was panicking about how long they might be out of work. It went down a bit in 2023 when the jobs market was certainly the hottest I've ever known it during my career. But it's probably averaged out again at around the 6-month mark. And if you went to an outplacement consultant who specialises in helping you to find another job, for example, when you've been made redundant, they will say that they can find anybody a job in that time period if they really put their mind to it and perhaps take the blinkers off as regards what the next job looks like. There are certain factors that will depress the amount of money in a settlement agreement. So if you've done something wrong and you are accused of gross misconduct, and it's a method to avoid a disciplinary process, then that's going to really dampen down what's in it. If you've already been through a performance management process, so you've had various warnings, or indeed regarding your sickness absence, then if the natural progression in that process would be for the employer to dismiss, then they may feel on reasonable grounds to go down that road. So that would depress how much money they might be offering. If there's a redundancy situation where that person process has been followed, you would ordinarily be getting contractual or statutory rights. There's not a huge onus on the employer to pay much more than that, and anything they do could be a gesture of goodwill. Those are the things that will keep down the amount of money in a settlement agreement. In effect, because the employee's bargaining power in that situation is weak, then there are certain factors that will bump up what's in the pot, and they will be things like how niche the person's job is, so how rare posts are, if there's sorts of posts where people don't move on regularly. Certain professions, particularly if you're at the top of the tree, there might not be anywhere for you to go. The jobs market might not be great. That might be generally in the UK at a particular time. That might be in a particular sector because of various factors. If you're unwell, all of these things are things that will enable you to argue it's going to take you longer to find another job, so your financial losses are going to increase. If you are older, if you have a disability, again, you may say it will take me more time to find another job than somebody else. Then we get into whether or not there's any unfair dismissal. So if no process has been followed by the employer, somebody more than 2 years service at the time of recording this, then there will be arguments about what compensation might otherwise be applicable. So the basic award is equivalent to statutory redundancy pay, so based on age, length of service, and a certain amount of money for a week's pay. And then the compensatory award is based on how long it's going to take you to find another job. So all of those factors about what's going on in the market will apply. And there's a cut-off at the moment of £115,115 pounds. So if you're a very high earner, that's going to cut you off at the knees, because the amount that you could get if you went all the way to a tribunal is so much lower than your higher salary. Discrimination will come into it. So if you do have an angle in terms of discrimination where there would be an additional award for injury to feelings, then you're probably looking at somewhere between £10,000 and £15,000 for that injury to feelings award. So those are the sorts of factors that are going to increase what's in the pot. In negotiation terms, I see a big difference between the attitudes of men and women. So often if I'm having a chat with a man, he might be saying, I'm not going to settle for anything less than 2 years service. And I'm probably managing his expectations downwards at that point. When I speak to the ladies, they tend to be a lot shyer about negotiations and saying things like, well, if my employer pays me my notice period and a little bit more, then I'll be happy. And I have to give them what I call the lecture, where I'm saying, now don't do that thing that all ladies do, and know your worth. So that's a quick gallop through the sorts of factors that are going to affect where you end up in a settlement agreement. I think if you Google it, Google is probably wrong. Clients are telling me that Google tells them somewhere between 3 and 6 months, and I think that's on the low side. Anyway, if you want to have a chat about any of these issues, it's denton@refreshinglawltd.co.uk. Thank you very much.